All right, my friends, welcome back. Today is Friday, May 9th, 2025, Mother's Day weekend. I hope that you are looking forward to the weekend and have some wonderful plans, maybe with your mother, if you can. Spend some time with her. Maybe she's not geographically close where you can do that, but at least give her a call. Let her know how much you love her. Even if things have been tense and the bounds of the relationship have been stretched to the point where you don't know if you can take it, take the time to say I love you, even if you don't feel like you feel it at the moment. Because as time rolls on, you realize just how important that is. And there are some of you who have lost your mother, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have children, there is a mother in your life, regardless. Let her know that you love her, that you appreciate her, and that you thank her for the children that you have. Tension in relationships is common, and we can't always act on what we feel. We have to be willing to think about the long game and say the things that we think we might regret having not said later on. Say them now. Say them now and say it like you mean it, because you'll be thankful that you did in years to come. All right. So today, before I get into more about mothers, I want to share with you what I have in my beard. This morning I applied Bay Area Beard Company's Florida Blanca beard oil. Really good stuff. Now, I've talked about Bay Area Beard Company quite a bit. They're based out of Tampa, and I know the owner of it personally. He's a great guy. And so I would suggest checking them out. I have a link down below and a code you can use that will save you 20% on all their products. I highly suggest checking them out. And I haven't found anything of theirs I didn't like. And if you don't have a beard, you might know somebody that does, and this would make a great gift for them. So consider that. Consider, sometimes we find ourselves at a loss for nice gift ideas. But if you know a man that has a beard, maybe it's your son, maybe it's your father, maybe it's a friend, coworker, you get them this, they're not going to be expecting it. So make sure you check out the description down below. Bay Area Beard Company. All right, I want to share with you a couple things that have happened to me this week, or that I've experienced or witnessed or whatever, that are a little uncommon. At least they've never quite happened to me, or I haven't been around to see things like this happen personally. And the first one was an account that I had arrived at. It's one of these brand new apartment complexes that's rather posh, in my opinion, in my estimation. And it looks like you have to have some real money to live there. And so I pulled up to one of these buildings. They're 4 or 5 stories tall and very, very nice. And I had arrived there because someone had not paid their electric bill. So I went to cut them off. And as I parked the building, I had to walk to the one across from the parking space. And while I was parking, there was a delivery van, very much like an Amazon delivery van, but it didn't say Amazon, it just said some other delivery service. It had parked at the same time across from me. Not directly across, but somewhat across from me, catty corner from me. And when I got out to walk to the other side, he was getting out to walk to my side, so we were crossing paths. And as we were doing that, as we were saying, so we give ourselves, giving each other the head nod and, hey, how you doing, man? And I noticed that his van was rolling backwards. I looked at him, I go, your van's moving. And he's like, oh no. So he runs back, and I get behind the van to push it to slow it down, because it wasn't really moving fast. And it was slow enough for me to stop its momentum, what little momentum it had. He got in. He pulled it back into place. When he got out, I said, listen, I've seen these things happen in videos. I've never seen it happen to anybody else personally. He said, but if it makes you feel any better, I've kind of done this too in my own work truck. There were several times where I got out, I thought I had it in park, but it was still in drive, or perhaps it was in neutral, and the truck kept moving. In one incident that I can remember, I was in someone's driveway, and the driveway was sloping down towards the garage. Excuse me. I'm finding a cold. Was slowing down towards the garage, and I thought I had it in park. I got out, and immediately the truck started rolling toward the closed garage door, and I panicked. And I was trying to get back in the truck, and I happened to I was struggling a little bit. I happened to get in, step on the brake. It was very awkward. And then I got in park and saved myself on that one. And another incident, I was kind of out in a rural area, and I pulled my truck off the road. I didn't get onto the property, but I pulled it off the road in a grassy area. And I went and worked the meter, and I came back. My truck was gone. It was just gone. I mean, it wasn't gone, gone. I saw it. It was like, I don't know. It must have been like 100 feet from where I was. Yeah. It rolled, slowly rolled down the road just a little bit. It stayed in the grass, and luckily there was somewhat of a slight grade that it just came to us, even while in drive, it came to a slow stop. And I just kind of beat myself up about that. And luckily I didn't have to call anybody because I didn't hit anything. So I was very fortunate in that regard. And so that's my advice to you today. Whenever you go somewhere, before you get out of your vehicle, make sure you check to make sure that your vehicle is in park, not neutral, not drive, not reverse, just park. And you'll save yourself a world of trouble. Now, if for some reason this happens to you after you've heard this broadcast, I don't know what to tell you. I guess you'll probably cry into your pillow tonight, but nevertheless, I wish you luck on that. The other incident that happened was this morning. I was taking my wife to work. I was coming back home. I was going down the Polk Parkway. It's a toll road, and it's quite a stretch. And there's always a state trooper presence. There's always quite a few of them. Every day you see them pulling people over. And on the other side of the Polk Parkway, in other words, going in the other direction, I saw that 2 state troopers had pulled over a truck pulling a trailer. And there's a man standing outside the trailer. But as I was getting onto my off-ramp, I had to slow down because I saw an individual running across the road, and it was one of the state troopers. He was chasing someone on foot. And I looked over to my right, and running down the fence line was this guy, kind of a chunky guy, but he was running around, looking for holes in the fence. And the thought crossed my mind, should I get out and help him? But I thought to myself, well, I have a feeling they would probably disapprove because nobody's life was really in danger. Mine could have been if I had gotten out of my vehicle on that road because people move very fast there. And he wasn't in danger. Nobody else was in danger. And I knew that they would catch Tubby within a certain amount of time. And sure enough, not too long after that, state troopers, sirens blaring, lights going, zip right on past me to go cut him off. But I thought, wouldn't that make an interesting story if I did help out? I don't regret not, but if somebody's life would have been in danger, I would have, but it just didn't seem like that kind of an incident. Anyway, so don't go out there and break the law. And if you do, don't run from the cops. Just go with it. So, not that I think any of you would do that, but you never know. You never know. Hopefully, it won't be me. I mean, I don't roll that way, but things change, don't they? All right. In another case, a couple days ago here in Florida, there was an alligator attack, a fatal alligator attack. Did you hear about this? It's only, like I said, it's only a couple of days old, and yeah, it's pretty devastating. And this is something, if you're going to live in Florida, this is something you have to be quite aware of. When we first moved here, my grandmother told our family, she says, anywhere that you see water, there's an alligator. And you know what? She was right. And so you just got to keep that in mind at all times. And it's, I mean, I see them during this time of the year, you see them every day because we are quite literally, I think during mating season right now. This is the time for it. And yeah. So I'm going to share a little video clip with you from a local news station that talks about this. And it's not very long. It's very, very short. And I'll make my comments on. So here we go.
It's developing this morning, a horrifying alligator attack at a local state park. A woman ends up being killed in the water while she was out on a canoe trip with her husband. It happened in Lake Kissimmee State Park yesterday.
And unfortunately, the area is no stranger to attacks like this. News 6.
By the way, I live not too far from Lake Kissimmee State Park. I mean, I live in Polk County, but it's in Osceola County. I'm probably maybe 30 minutes away from
As
it.
Angie Casada joins us live in studio. And Angie, what are we learning about the attack this morning?
Yeah, we now have the chilling radio calls, guys, from first responders and new details from the Florida Wildlife Commission. This is the second time in just 2 months that a gator is attacked in the same area. The calls for help came in just after 4 in the afternoon. A woman canoeing in Tiger Creek grabbed by a gator.
Gator grabbed her out of the canoe. He tried to fight the gator off. We're at the last place he saw her.
Her husband tried to save her, but couldn't. FWC confirms the woman's body was recovered shortly after.
The helicopter spotted the victim floating in the water, and FWC officers recovered her from the water where she was pronounced deceased.
And it's not the first incident in these waters. In March, another woman was bitten on the arm by a gator at the same creek. FWC says serious gator attacks are rare, but remind people to stay alert near Florida's waterways.
So there you have it. This is certainly a very tragic incident. Elderly couple. I say that, but I mean close to their age. But yeah, elderly couple, and the man could not fight the gator off. I guess they were in like 2.5 feet of water, and they happened to come up over the top of it. And you wonder how things like this can happen. But my wife and I were talking about this on the way to her work, and we're saying that sometimes people just become complacent about gators. I don't. I certainly don't. But other people, they kind of play with fire too much. You know what I mean? They underestimate their power or their ability to lash out, and it's something you have to take very seriously here. So if you ever make it to Florida, please do be careful whenever you're outside. Doesn't matter whether you're in the city or out down by the lake. Doesn't matter where you are. They are everywhere, and they're pretty feisty animals. We know someone personally who catches alligators. He's contracted by the state to go capture them and to release them, somewhere else. And he's got some stories. He's told me a few stories. He said, I told my wife that, or maybe she was telling us. She goes, he told me alligators are everywhere. I didn't believe him, so he took me out to a small lake, and he had one of these little horns they use that you blow on that attract alligators. And so she said he blew on it, and all these eyes just popped up out of the water. Now these little devices sound like baby alligators because these gators eat baby gators. It's a wonder that they have not driven themselves extinct. But nevertheless, that is what happened. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. Kind of a tragic situation. And the next thing I want to talk about, though, is today is May 9th, as I said. Did you know that this is the day that Woodrow Wilson declared as the first Mother's Day in 1914? Yes, it is. So it's something I'll take the time to read you here. It says on May 9th, and this is from history.com, on May 9th, 1914, President Woodrow Wilson issues a presidential proclamation that officially establishes the first National Mother's Day holiday to celebrate America's mothers. The idea for a Mother's Day is credited by some to Julia Ward Howe, 1872, and by others to Anna Jarvis, 1907. Who both suggested a holiday dedicated to a day of peace. Many individual states celebrated Mother's Day by 1911, but it was not until Wilson lobbied Congress in 1914 that Mother's Day was officially set on the second Sunday of every May. In his first Mother's Day proclamation, Wilson stated that the holiday offered a chance to publicly express our love and reverence for the mothers of our country. And that's pretty interesting. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that today is the day that it was first recognized as a real holiday. Yeah. So hope you appreciate that. Hope you take the time to appreciate your mother, and just say wonderful things to her, about her, because as time goes on, like I said, that will matter to you. But I have a few quotes I want to send your way that A few of these are funny. Some of them are brutal. And some of them might reflect how you feel about your mother, both good and bad. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. So here's the first quote by Anne Bancroft. She said, when Mel Brooks told his mother that he was marrying an Italian girl, she said, bring her over here. I'll be in the kitchen with my head in the oven. Now, Anne Bancroft, she was a real looker in the day. I can't believe she married Mel Brooks, but hey, I'm sure she had her reasons. Irma Bombeck, do you remember her? She said, it is not until you become a mother that your judgment slowly turns to compassion and understanding. She also said, when your mother asks, do you want a piece of advice? Is a mere formality. It doesn't matter if you answer yes or no, you're going to get it anyway. They just can't help themselves. That's what you do as a parent anyway. That's how you are. Here's here's kind of a funny one by Anna Chin Williams. It's great being a new mom. The only thing I worry about is that one day the FBI will break down my door and take the baby back to his real mother. But I guess it's normal for new moms to worry. What in the world? Claudette Colbert said, why do grandparents and grandchildren get along so well? They have the same enemy, the mother. I hope that's not how you feel. Rodney Dangerfield, the king of one-liners, right? So my mother had morning sickness after I was born. Oh boy. Have you ever seen a baby that was ugly and actually admitted that was ugly? Was it one of yours? You don't say it out loud. You try not to think it. You feel horrible if you do think it. All right. Phyllis Diller, another comedian from years past. She says, my mother hated me. Once she took me to an orphanage and told me to mingle. Dame Edna Everidge. My mother used to say that there are no strangers, only friends you haven't met yet. She's now in a maximum security Twilight home in Australia. Oh, man, here's one by Richard Jenny. You remember him, right? He says, my mother... This is horrible. I question whether I should even share this or not. My mother never saw the irony in calling me a son of a bitch. Yeah. Wendy Liebman says, my mom was a ventriloquist, and she was always throwing her voice. For 10 years, I thought the dog was telling me to kill my father. Bob Monkhouse. I don't recall who this is, but here's what he said. My mother tried to kill me when I was a baby. She denied it. She says she thought the plastic bag would keep me fresh. That is absolutely horrible. It's hard to even think of that as being funny. Maybe it's just the times we live in. Caroline Ray says, my mother wasn't the protective type. When my father left, she told us kids, don't think this just had to do with me. Your father left all of us. Well, in some cases that is the truth. But Joan Rivers said, I was dating a transvestite. My mother said, marry him. You'll double your wardrobe. Mothers don't always give the best advice. They really don't. They might mean well, but they don't always give. Let's keep it real here. Joan Rivers also said, all I heard when I was growing up was, why can't you be more like your cousin Sheila? Why can't you be more like your cousin Sheila? Sheila died at birth. That is, I told you guys that this was going to be brutal. Rita Rudner said, neurotics build castles in the air. Psychotics live in them. My mother cleans them. Really? All right. Homer Simpson, great philosopher. Oh, honey, you're not the world's worst mother. What about that freezer lady in Georgia? Oscar Wilde. All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does. That is his. So that's kind of deep, isn't it? Oprah Winfrey said, biology is the least of what makes someone a mother. Yeah, I think she's at least 50% right there. And there's a Jewish proverb that says, God could not be everywhere, so he made mothers. There's a lot of truth to that, it seems like. They always seem to know what's going on, even when they're asleep. Even when they shouldn't be able to hear you. I swear, they can sense, hear, feel, and detect things in ways that are almost supernatural. So this last quote is not even attributed to anybody, but it says, the only place you're sure to find love is at the end of a letter from your mother. I think that's one of the hardest things about losing a mother is that's your last bastion of what we feel like is expected love. We feel it from our fathers too. It's different coming from a mother. I mean, there's the dynamics. The dynamic is just completely different. And my mother just recently passed away, like well, almost 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago, almost to the day. 2 months and one day. And I miss her. And I look back now and think I probably gave her a harder time than what I realize. I probably didn't give her enough credit. I probably should have showed her more love. But I think this is something that everybody goes through. This is why I tell you, if you're younger, or even if you're the same age, if your mother's still around, think about the long game. Let her know how much you love her. And even if you don't feel it, say it anyway, because you might feel different at a different time, and you're going to wish you would have acted on it. One of the things I always wanted to do with my mom was I wanted to actually go up to Georgia, sit down at a table with her and interview her and make a video with her so I could introduce you guys and you could find out all about her, because she had a lot of good stories. I never got around to it, and I will probably regret that for the rest of my life. And I can't do anything about it. I don't try to rehash it in my mind over and over again, because I don't believe it's good for us to punish ourselves. I've done plenty of that in my life. And I think no matter what we've done, how good of a child we've been, no matter how much we've given to our parents or whatever the case may be, you could be the best kid in the world and you're probably going to have regrets. And I think that's why it's important to understand that mothers have made quite a few sacrifices for us. You might say to yourself, well, you don't know my mother. My mother was a horrible person. There are mothers out there like that. And not everything I say can apply to you. And if that's the case, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you wouldn't be here without her. And hopefully you're thankful for the life that you have. And maybe you can just at least say thank you, even if you can't say I love you. Because oftentimes, thank you isn't I love you.